you kidding me?
Here's a shot that play. They score!
And now switches hands.
He scores!
Oh my goodness!
Tonight on the California coast, time is running out for Mark Matthews and the Saskatchewan Rush. Will they beat the Seals and finally turn the corner, or will San Diego cement themselves as the class of the Western Conference? We'll have clarity when the night is over. It's the National Lacrosse League, and it starts right now. From the Midway District in San Diego, it's Friday night in the National Lacrosse League. The struggling 3-7 Saskatchewan Rush pay a visit to the Western Conference leading Seals, who come in at 7-2. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth at Pechanga Arena. He is Nick Acello. I'm Cooper Perkins. Ali Wyatt will join us from the floor shortly. Partner, our matchup tonight is one of those tense occasions where we know there will be clarity at the end of the night regardless of what happens. Either Saskatchewan wins and they're firmly planted in the playoff race going forward, or the Rush lose and likely see their dynastic run come to an end with the trade deadline looming this upcoming week.
It's almost weird to see this Rush team be 3-7 because they've, since 2015, been terrorizing the NLL. They've made consecutive championships. They've won 3 out of the last 5. So to see them at 3-7 is a really vulnerable. It's almost like seeing a chip in the armor of Goliath. You see in 2016 and 2018 they won. So if I'm San Diego, I'm viewing this game almost as a changing of the guard. You guys had your run. Now it's our turn to step in and be the top dogs in the Western Conference and throughout the entire NLL.
Well, the Rush off to their worst start since 2011 when they opened up 2-8. That was back in the old Edmonton Rush days. So for San Diego, they have one of the best offenses in the league this season, and one of the key driving factors behind that is the emergence of Westberg as one of the league's elite on the right side. With Austin Stotts unavailable tonight, Berg will have to have another MVP caliber performance if San Diego is going to win their 8th in 10 games.
And you said it right there, MVP caliber. This is a guy who can do it all. He can beat you to the top, he can beat you underneath, he's a threat from the outside, and he's a lethal finisher. And for him to put it all together in one season as well as he is, I think firmly solidifies it, as well as scoring ridiculous around-the-world SportsCenter #1 goals, is just a little icing on the cake, little cherry on top for Wesley Berg, one of the dynamic players in this entire league.
Well, Berg has hat tricks in 6 out of his last 7 games, and the Seals will need similar production from him tonight. Our very own Ali Wyatt caught up with Wesley just a little bit earlier tonight.
Thank you very much, Cooper. We're joined now by Wesley Berg. Wes, a truly outstanding season for you thus far. What have you added to your game that's helped elevate it to this next level?
We got a lot of new faces here at the beginning of the year, and I think we gelled really well, and a lot of guys who can put the ball in the back of the net, and we just move the ball well and share it, and, at times maybe a bit too unselfish in games, but when we're rolling, everybody's getting a chance to score, and, Trey and Jared do a great job either opening things up for me or trying to find me in the middle, and just had a lot of good chances.
Thanks, Ali. Stick with us for all the action tonight. Face-Off is coming up next. The Rush and the Seals. It's all right here. Face-Off just around the corner in San Diego as Friday night continues in the National Lacrosse League. There's a look at Jeff McComb, first-year coach for the Saskatchewan Rush, taking over for one of the best to ever do it on the bench, Derek Keenan. He's got his hands full at 3-7, trying to turn a corner tonight. Patrick Merrill, third-year head coach and the only coach in Seals history, also their general manager, 21-16 all-time, with his team on top of the Western Conference coming into the evening. Our guaranteed rate starting goaltenders tonight gets us beginning with Eric Penny for the Saskatchewan Rush, picked up in a trade with Philadelphia earlier this season. You see he's 2-0 with a 10.5 goals against average. His save percentage .786, although he was pulled, though, in their last game against Panther City a week ago. So something to keep an eye on is the dynamic in the goaltending situation for Saskatchewan. Maybe the best goaltender in the league this season, Frank Chiliano, coming off a career-best game in which he held his opponent, Calgary, to just 4 goals on 54 shots. Chiliano leading the league in goals against average and second in save percentage. Tonight's face-off is brought to you by BetMGM, the league's official sportsbook partner. We'll have Brandon Clellan and Mike Messenger. Messenger has been so good at the dot recently for Saskatchewan. Faceoff's an area where San Diego has struggled all season, finding themselves in the bottom 3 of the league. And here we go. Messenger, a clean win, and he goes lunging his way ahead, gives it off, and Saskatchewan will have the first possession. Nick, faceoffs have been such an issue for San Diego. They're 3rd to last in the league, and it's quick possessions like that have really given them a hard time.
And they're going to have to keep Mike Messenger in line because he is like a fullback. When he gets momentum, there's no stopping him, so they're going to need to address that right off the bat.
Crossfield pass from Church for Keenan, knocked down, and a scrum. It's the loose ball king, Brody Merrill, who did not play in the first meeting between these teams. It was kind of an awkward visit up to Saskatchewan after the original date of December 31st was rescheduled to January 14th. You see the money line odds, Saskatchewan, a small underdog on the road, the over-under total at 22.5. Those teams went just over that back on the 14th. Dane Doby tried to shoot around his defender, had it stopped, shooting just 4% in the last 2 games.
And with Austin Stotts out, expect Dane Doby.
Messenger stopped by Chiliano. You were saying about Doby.
Yeah. Well, first off, I was saying about Messenger going to dive towards the cage. You got to stop him. But with Austin Stotts out, expect Dane Doby to take that leadership role that he really found his way into the first couple games of the season and has slowed down a little bit. Still a leader, but expect him to get hot in the absence of Austin Stotts.
Doby not on the floor right now, but there's Wes Berg, who we highlighted in the pregame. But the rookie Matt O'Keefe struggling in his last 5 games. Another rookie, Trey LeClaire. Shot clock at 3, has to get one away, one-handed. Missed the net. And the loose ball comes up. Connor McClellan, the 24-year-old rookie for Saskatchewan.
I like seeing Trey LeClaire go one-handed. When he beats his defenseman underneath, you know, he kind of has that, might not know exactly what to do to get creative. So one hand, hey, work on that bag of tricks.
Church has been hot lately. Working it back to the other side. Up top for Matthews. Everything runs through Mark Matthews in this offense. The middle of the floor. Chiliano has a stop, and Cam Holding vacuums up the loose ball for a quick trip down the floor.
Pretty good defense from San Diego there. They're coming off their most physical performance against Calgary last week, really dictating the pace, and that's a good start.
Here's Doby, loses the ball. That's one thing Saskatchewan does extremely well. They take the ball away better than almost anyone in the league. Only Toronto is forcing more turnovers a game than this Saskatchewan Rush team, with all of their Defensive Player of the Year and all pros in that back end. On the offensive end, still nothing to write home about. First 2.5 minutes, no score. Dan Lintner having a career year. Here's Matthews. He shoots off the foot of Chiliano. The defense holds again for San Diego.
And expect to see that be the start of most of the Saskatchewan offense. It's Mark Matthews and whoever's accompanying him on that left-hand side going east-west, which means across the field, not up and down. They really like to initiate that way.
Big personnel change for San Diego. Casey Jackson throws the pass. He's back for the first time since December 17th. LeClaire's shot goes wide. There's Noble. 5 in the shot clock. O'Keefe. Shot shoots up into the rafters and comes down after the shot clock expires. But no Austin Stotts for San Diego tonight. He is on the IR. Jackson comes in to take his place on the left side. And without Stotts, since he was drafted in 2018, the Seals 4-9 compared to 19-7 with Austin Stotts. LeClaire getting a lot of action early tonight. Gets around, gets his hands free. LeClaire, a rocket of a shot missed wide. And here comes Bobby Kidd, the third, flying down the floor.
And that's a little bit of a rookie mistake by Trey LeClaire. You beat your man to the middle. You don't need to shoot it 100 miles an hour.
His Rush offense shoots a lot, and a shoulder save for Chiliano, who stopped 50 shots on 54 looks last week. Not quite a career high, but did surpass 3,000 career saves en route to holding an opponent to under 5 for the 3rd time this year. Zach Greer starting to shoot more lately, getting comfortable, but has it taken away. But in veteran fashion, wins it back. 5 on the shot clock. Greer's tied up with Holden Garland, and Cornwall gobbles it up. Defense really active so far for Saskatchewan.
Active feet, and particularly the Saskatchewan defense causes turnovers with active sticks. You'll see them match up well, but also get on the hands, intercept passes, and throw checks that cause turnovers.
On the other end, Josh Courier steered aside by Chiliano. Courier came over in the trade with Philadelphia. Put up 34 goals for the Wings back in 2018. Matthews goes right at Brody Merrill, swings it around. Courier down the alley. Courier runs out of real estate, loses control of the ball. And they get Merrill. Merrill will have the ball after Courier goes to the floor. And San Diego's defense so far looking solid despite no Tyson Bomberry or Tyler Garrison.
And Brendan Clellan stepping in for one of those injured players did a great job holding the anchor spot. San Diego gave up a vulnerable spot, but Clellan was there to shut the door.
Wild pass from Jeremy Noble. And Dobie has it swatted away by Kyle Rubisch, the all-time leader in caused turnovers. Getting after the rookie O'Keefe with nowhere to go. And the shot clock just running down to nothing. San Diego's offense doesn't even get a look at the goal. And on that shot clock violation, with 9:30 left to go, no score yet in San Diego. Eric Penny and Frank Chiliano looking good early. We'll have more coming up next. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate, believe you will. Also by NLLshop.com, a Fanatics experience, officially licensed everything. And by BetMGM, the official sports book of the NLL. Get the BetMGM app today. Now you're winning with the king of the sports books. Please bet responsibly. We welcome you back to San Diego. No score midway through the first quarter. Second meeting of the season between the Seals and the Rush. First time around back on January 14th. Seals eked out a 12-11 win up at the SaskTel Center. You see Robert Church there, 5 points on 3 goals and 2 assists. Austin Stotts, 6 points on 3 goals and 3 assists. He is not playing tonight. Casey Jackson has returned from the IR as Stotts has swapped places with him going onto the IR himself. Matthews, he scores! Quick out of the timeout. Mark Matthews buries his 18th goal this season.
This is so tough to stop. It really is, because when Mark Matthews gets topside, he's one of the most lethal passers in this entire game. So you have to respect him going to the middle, but you give him just an inch to get momentum going towards Frank Chiliano. He's going to take advantage of that. And I'd like to call out something that we're going to see all game, the wrist strength of Mark Matthews. He stings corners and he doesn't need to take a big windup. He just snaps his wrist and that ball is coming out 90, 95 miles an hour. And it's well placed. Now they have to respect that for the rest of the game.
The former MVP put up 6 points in the first meeting against San Diego. He's had a fairly pronounced home-road split. He's a full point per game better at home than he is on the road. Just a little over 4 points per game on the road, a little over 5 at home. Ryan Keenan gets the assist, and Saskatchewan has an early 1-0 lead here at Pechanga Arena. The theme so far, the defense for Saskatchewan forcing turnovers.
Tough to win a faceoff when you lose your helmet immediately on the draw.
San Diego can't buy a faceoff win these days. Saskatchewan trying to turn a corner. Their season really is hinging tonight. If they win, they're in the thick of the playoff race. If they lose, they're 3-8 with the trade deadline coming up this week. Here's Courier, rolls it. Easy save for Chiliano.
Let's keep an eye on the matchup with Mark Matthews. I think that's going to be drawn mostly from Patrick Shumay, who's a big physical yet athletic presence. He just played a good shift right there. Expect that to be a talking point for the rest of the game.
Here comes Wes Berg for Dobie with 10 to shoot. Dobie gets to the middle. Dobie spins a shot off of Penny's thigh. And there's Rubisch. Another clean trip down the defensive end for Saskatchewan, who comes into tonight giving up 11.2 goals a game. That's 8th in the league. Gave up 17 a week ago, and they turn it over here. That's something that's been a problem in recent weeks. Saskatchewan averaging 26.5 turnovers their last 2 times out. That after averaging just 16 in their first 8 games. Now back to San Diego's offense. Casey Jackson brings a different component to this.
He really does. He is a dynamic player. I don't want to compare him to Austin Stotts too much, but he can play from behind the cage as Westberg takes a shot.
Noble, a save by Penny. There's Jackson, and another save by Penny. right on cue talking about Jackson playing behind the cage.
I'm shocked that he missed that call. I'm going to chalk that one up to rust, and I'll even chalk up this slow start for the San Diego offense up to a little bit of rust. Casey Jackson, a dynamic player, they haven't had a lot of time to gel and figure out what works with each other.
Cross floor pass and a goal for Saskatchewan. Nice pass by Church as Jeff Shatler, the 37-year-old, makes it 2-0.
When this Saskatchewan offense is firing on all cylinders, you'll notice the ball movement go across the floor a couple times. So you see this lethal pass across the heart of the San Diego defense. And that's something that you'll notice out of box players is even when you have Shumei close, just because you're standing next to a player does not mean you're covering him. You need to get on those hands and prevent him from catching the pass. Good ball movement from Saskatchewan right there.
The Rush have been a really good first quarter team this season, especially their last 3 games. Those 3 contests in which they're 1-2, they've gone +9 in the first quarter. McClellan gives it off for Matt Beers in his first season with Saskatchewan. After a long run as the captain of the Vancouver Warriors, dating all the way back to their stealth days in Washington. He's fit right in. Jeff McComb really highlighted him as a guy that they expected to be good, but not quite as good as he's been for them this year. Pleasant surprise. Spin it back into the middle. Chiliano moving to his left, watches it flutter past.
2 goals. Hard pick sent Brody Merrill to the ground right there. Very few times you see him go to the ground without being a moving pick called. Refs letting the boys play here in the first quarter.
2 goals, Matthews and Shatler for Saskatchewan. Rush on top 2-0 and force another turnover as their sticks have been so active in the passing lanes.
They have active in the passing lanes and active during dodges too as San Diego gets a really good ride in.
Noble takes a high shot. Nothing called. Cornwall wings it in, and with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. Keenan gives it off. They'll work it to the right-hand side. Church. Hot shooting lately. 7 goals his last 2 games off the shin of Chiliano. Hard check by Clellan, who came flying in. And Tor Reinhold breaks down the floor. It's a 2-on-2 with Holding. Holding in tight, Holding. He scores! Cam Holding for the 4th time this season cuts the deficit in half for San Diego.
As we've seen a couple times this year, Cam Holding is now truly cementing himself as the spark of the transition game for this San Diego defensive unit. Tor Reinhold sprints up the floor, and Cam Holding is really sneaky good around the crease. That's not easy to do, to cut your angle, to go in front of the goalie, thereby maximizing how much you can shoot at the goal. Sneaks it right past the 5-hole, and Cam, just like we saw earlier this year, is the spark that gets the Seals on the board.
Sticking it to the franchise that drafted him way back in 2010 in the 4th round. Chiliano came way out of the goal in a dangerous situation, but it pays off. Merrill gets it ahead to Goldbrecht, and coming off the bench, Wes Berg will slow things down and calm things down. But a rare possession after a goal for San Diego.
Faceoffs have bitten him in the rear this entire year.
Mac O'Keefe, 10 seconds to shoot. That shot clock getting tighter and tighter. Doby trying to feed it in tight for Berg. And the shot clock with 4. They're not even going to get a shot away here. .454 to go in the first quarter. Saskatchewan an early 2-1 lead. We'll step aside here. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. Get game day ready and shop your favorite teams' jerseys and merchandise. Head to NLLshop.com to get all your National Lacrosse League and team gear today. Some young fans in the audience tonight. Let's check in with the 3rd member of our broadcast crew, Allie Wyatt, on the floor.
Thanks very much, Coop. Well, we were talking about it before the game, but I talked to offensive coordinator for the Seals, Josh Anderson, and he was saying that Wesley Berg has been playing better than really he thinks anyone in this league, and he definitely should be in the race for the MVP candidate. He says if it's goals, assists, loose balls, he does it all. And not only does he a lot on the floor, but he does a lot off the floor. He said he's really elevated his vocal game this season. And guys, I can see it on the bench every single time he comes back out here. He's building up these guys. He's telling them what he sees, what he needs them to do. He's really putting his best foot forward. Nick, Coop, back to you.
Allie Wyatt, our eyes and ears down between the benches. Schattler gets his hands loose and scores a second goal of the night. 2 for the 16th year pro.
And Mark Matthews' recognition that this is going to be open is stemming just from his incredible eyes, and his way, like his veteran presence out there is incredible. So if we take a peek at this, there is only a split second where he's open right there. And for him to find Schattler that quickly off of a small miscommunication on the San Diego defense shows me that this Saskatchewan team is going full gas. Hey, if you see an opening, we need to take advantage of it. And they have their foot on the gas right now.
Well, Jeff Schattler, you see his dyed stick head in honor of his nephew who has autism, for autism awareness, one of the best characters in the National Lacrosse League. Schattler will be retiring after this year, the 2011 MVP of the league. One last ride in Saskatchewan. Off assists from Matthews and Keenan. So it's 3-1. Frank Chiliano, Nick, is a hot and cold goaltender. We talk a lot about the importance of early stops for him. This is dangerous territory.
And we saw last week in Calgary when he held them to 4, they were giving up the shots that the San Diego defense wants to, outside shots with pressure on the hands. Right now they're giving up some more vulnerable right in the middle of the floor, not really getting the pressure that Frank Chiliano needs to get hot. So I'm going to pin this cold start more on the defense than on Frank himself.
Speaking of defense, Saskatchewan has been given nothing already. Shot clock down to 7. Berg goes underneath Berg into Penny's chest. And a quick one-shot trip for San Diego. But Penny, an errant pass. There's Shume, who comes flying in for Dobie, and San Diego can get a second look.
Boy, Penny has to be careful there to throw a lob pass towards the Seals bench, oftentimes called the hospital pass. I'm glad that that didn't result in an unfavorable collision.
Crossfield pass, in tight Berg. Another stop by Penny, this time on the doorstep. But a loose ball for the rookie Mac O'Keefe, trying to find any way to contribute that he can. O'Keefe shooting just 9.5% his last 3 games. Gives it away though as Garland brings it across for Saskatchewan. A little 3-on-3 in tight. A good look, and Chiliano makes a stop going down to his backside, denying the look from Ryan Dilts. Here's the other way. Brody Merrill kind of surveys, picks his way, and gets it to Leclerc coming on the floor. Quiet offense so far for San Diego, having a hard time passing the ball. Sounds simple, but Saskatchewan has made them earn everything. Thus far, just the 1 goal in transition. Greer missed high with the shot clock winding down. And another empty trip.
Looks like this Saskatchewan defense said, hey, we are comfortable with our athletes going one-on-one. Get on the hands and interrupt the flow of this San Diego offense. And they did a fantastic job.
Schattler for the hat trick in the first quarter. Another pass by Matthews finds him cutting to the net. And it's 4-1 Saskatchewan.
And in contrast, I was just talking about how Saskatchewan's doing a great job getting on the hands of the San Diego Seals. Look at Mark Matthews right there with the flick of the wrist right over to Schattler. They only have an inch of space, but instead of getting out and interrupting and getting on the hands, they're giving, as we have a challenge on the floor, they're giving Mark Matthews his hands and his eyes, and that's when he's his most lethal.
It would be Matthews' 3rd of the night if it holds up. Merrill lost his 1 attempted challenge last weekend in this same building against Calgary. A strong start though for Saskatchewan, whether the goal stands or not. We know they're a good first quarter team, but we talked about at the top of the broadcast, this is a game where so much of their season is hinging. Schattler in the crease there. It's hard to find a look at the ball.
Yeah, you nailed it. You know, we almost talked about a changing of the guard. You know, Sask being historically the good team, San Diego pressing, and that can do one of two things. One, can fire the boys up and give them a little bit of juice to really come out hot, or potentially give them the room to overthink. You know, you start white-knuckling the stick, gripping it too hard, really tensing up and overthinking on every shift instead of settling in and knowing, you know, executing what you know how to do well. Looks like the San Diego defense might be overthinking things a little bit here.
And on the other side, it looks like Saskatchewan's playing like a team with nothing to lose.
They really are. They're saying, hey, defensively, let's get after them. Offense, let's run and gun and move the ball quickly. And San Diego does not have an answer.
We'll get the call on the floor right now.
Saskatchewan shooter does not reestablish prior to the ball crossing the line. Therefore, we have no goal.
The Shatler has his third of the night wiped away. Patrick Merrill wins his challenge, and Frank Chiliano can breathe a sigh of relief.
That's big, too, because you learn something from that. You learn that they're going to be making hard dive cuts towards the cage, and we cannot let up for a second. Standing next to a player does not mean you're guarding him. You need to have your stick on his gloves.
San Diego offense has had a hard time solving this aggressive and active Saskatchewan defense. All pros and defensive players of the year scattered all over the floor. Dane Doby into a double team, gets hit by Corbeil, loses the ball, gets it back. Doby gets a shot off into Penny's stick.
Boy, this defense is just making San Diego earn every little thing. Doby gets to the middle of the field, but gets hit 5, 6, 7, 8 different times.
Dan Lintner having a career year. Lintner shoots and scores. Number 17 for Lintner. And it's 4-1 in the first quarter.
This is the tough one for Frank Chiliano because the San Diego defense is doing a relatively good job of keeping them at a low angle, keeping them outside of the boards. They just give up a tiny bit of angle. Frank oversteps, plays to his left, and he's able to pull it near side over Frankie's right shoulder with a little bit of traffic. Frankie didn't see that, sneaks it near side pipe. Not saying hit the panic button, but the San Diego defense really needs to start going back to the physicality that made them lethal against Calgary.
And they picked up Lintner in a trade with Buffalo last year. Closed it in on his career high of 20 goals that he put up with Toronto back in 2019. That was his 17th of the season. Turnover for Saskatchewan means San Diego gets the ball back with 1 minute and 43 seconds left. The only goal the Seals have scored was Cam Holding in transition. Their offense has been shut out in the first half. No Austin Stotts looming large for the San Diego offense. That's 3 goals per game better with Stotts in the lineup. Working the right-hand side, Noble and Berg. Noble, he shoots and a save for Penny. Matt Beers vacuums up the loose ball and no rebound for the Seals. Final 75 seconds of the first. Kidd gets it in. Keenan. Chiliano makes the save. And San Diego avoids going down 4 goals.
Again, look for those hard cuts right through the middle of the San Diego defense, whether it's in transition or settled. That looks to be a major part of this Saskatchewan game plan.
Offensively, San Diego just gets their men on with 10 on the shot clock and a weak shot from Jackson. Easy work for Penny. And with 45 seconds left, the Rush pushing down the floor looking for a 2-for-1 perhaps. It's Church. Chiliano holds tight. And Chiliano lofts it ahead toward Reinhold there. Final 30 seconds. About 6 seconds between the game and shot clock. San Diego's offense has been silent in this first quarter. Saskatchewan giving them all kinds of problems, forcing turnovers. Doby under 10 to shoot, nowhere to go. Gets a pick from Zach Greer, just 5 on the shot clock. Greer has to let one rip, and he can't get it off. Blocked by Beers, and a shot clock violation. 4 seconds left in the quarter. It's Cornwall. Cornwall at the buzzer, he scores!
We'll see if the clock saved Frankie here. I know that was coming down to the wire, but you have to expect that this is coming.
Now, it's important to remember the ball has to be in the goal. It's not like the field game where if the shot comes off before the buzzer goes. Let's take a look here.
First off, good wheels by Cornwall right there.
Right between the legs of Chiliano.
Well, and he was sprinting so fast that Frankie had to make the adjustment on the fly. He takes one step, and when you take that step, you open up the 5-hole, as that is going to be a good goal, no review.
So it's 5-1 after 15 minutes, and San Diego has work to do. Saskatchewan comes out firing. Frank Chiliano on his heels. We'll have the second quarter coming up next. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. We welcome you back to San Diego. The Sirens dance team. The only highlight for San Diego so far is they trail 5-1 after 15 minutes. And the Rush, who came in with everything to gain in their season on the line, have put Patrick Merrill's team in a bind. You see the Western Conference standings. San Diego 7-2 coming in. Saskatchewan there at 3-7. Only the top 3 teams in the West are guaranteed playoff spots. That 4th spot is a wild card that could either be a crossover from the East or come from the West. If the season ended today, it would come from the East. You see Saskatchewan there with Calgary and Panther City 3 wins apiece. They need this game so badly, and they're playing just like it.
And it's with a little extra emphasis because they're actually competing against the Eastern Conference. One of those teams, Calgary, Saskatchewan, or Panther City, needs to get hot right now. Sounds like Sask put their hand up and said, hey, we will gladly take that position, as they blazed to a 5-1 spot in a dominant performance in the first quarter.
Well, the Seals have been the best second quarter team in the National Lacrosse League this year. We'll see if the tide of the game changes as San Diego plus 15 in the second quarter this season. That's the best in the league. Cross floor Noble. He uncorks one, and it's a kick save by Penny. Noble gets his miss back. And San Diego, a rare second look. It'll be a delayed penalty. Off goes Chiliano. And with 20 seconds left, San Diego gets a 6-on-5. Here's Trey Leclerc coming on. Doby and Berg up top. Flanked by Jackson is Jackson. 10 to shoot. Berg behind the back. Leclerc swims, and he almost got one under the crossbar. But with that, we'll have the penalty.
And that was a great move by Trey Leclerc. He does a little, toe drag, gets to a very dangerous spot, and Penny was just able to get a piece of it as San Diego gets a desperately needed man-up opportunity.
2 minutes, flashing.
Well, on the slash, San Diego will go up a man for the first time tonight. Matt Beers sits down. Beers coming in on one of the top penalty minute guys in league history, Doby. He scores! Quick work of the power play as Dane Doby nets his 23rd of the season.
If you're a left-handed player, you're a young left-handed player, this is going to be a fun matchup if Mark Matthews and Dane Doby can start exchanging goals. Simply, again, because of the snap of the wrist, he gets his entire body, he gets the head of his stick over his head, snaps his wrist down. His entire body is telling Eric Penny, the goalie, hey, he's shooting high, but that flick of the wrist brings it down below the 5-hole. Let's hope that Doby gets hot. Exciting for everybody if that happens.
Well, Doby has been on a cold streak, just 6 goals in the 5 games entering play tonight. That came after he scored 16 in the first 4 of the season. His 149th career power play goal. Team high 6th of the season. Brody Merrill drives Mark Messenger into the bench. Messenger gives one up high to Merrill, who goes down in a heap.
The refs really are letting them play. So look at Drew Belgrave, does a phenomenal job getting some pressure right as you come over the half field. Brody Merrill pushes him, and let's see the retaliation right here. Cross check right to the face. We said that the refs are letting him play. That's a missed call.
There's no other way to say it. You cross-check the consummate captain and leader of this entire league right in the face. For that to be a no call is going to set up some fireworks, and it's going to be at the hands of the official.
Well, Mark Bessinger making no fans in San Diego tonight. Here's Wes Berg, assisted on the Dobie goal. San Diego trailing by 3, trying to win their 8th out of 10 to start the season. They're doing it without Austin Stotts on the left side. Here's O'Keefe, who spins a high shot off the shoulder of Penny. Is petting low to high that won him so many games in the college ranks.
Good to see him peel off a low to high, even though it didn't score, as Matthews
scores off the bench. There's the hard cut you've been talking about, Nick.
It appears that in the film or in the game prep, when Saskatchewan was preparing for this San Diego team, the hard cuts right through the heart of the floor must have been a point of emphasis, whether it's coming off the bench or whether it's coming from the offense. This is what you can't give up. Mark Matthews coming full speed off the bench. We talked about that in Albany, the most recent loss for San Diego. Picking up players coming off the bench needs to happen, or you're going to give up goals like that repeatedly.
Second of the night for Matthews, puts him over 50 points for the season. Picking cherries for the 9th-year pro out of Denver. Face-off win for Saskatchewan, fresh off the goal, widening their lead back to 4. Right after San Diego got a goal from Dane Dobie on a power play. Saskatchewan trying to pick up their 4th win to get themselves back into playoff contention. Near side, it's Keenan. An assist tonight. Belgrave on his hands. Flings a pass back to Keenan for to shoot. Missed the goal. Long rebound. Here's Holding. It's a 2-on-3 as Saskatchewan gets back quickly.
That's a better San Diego defensive stand right there. Get beat to where it dictates in the system, get beat too, and that's something that you can build off of. Desperately needed.
Shot clock already down to 10. Dobie working with Zach Greer on the left side. Dobie for Noble, 5 to shoot. Dobie couldn't get it off, dropped the pass, and a shot clock violation. Already the 3rd against San Diego tonight. Gives us an idea of just how tight the defense is that they're facing, but it'll be a penalty on Saskatchewan to give San Diego their 2nd power play.
Illegal substitution.
So, too many men.
Yep.
A rare mistake from a veteran team.
Veteran team especially, you know, and I think that comes down to when you're wheeling and dealing and you're flying and things are going your way, you're eager to get out on the floor, but you have to be patient. Refs are going to try and catch that every time.
San Diego 1 for 1 in the power play tonight. There's Dobie again behind the goal. Jackson scores from behind the X. Welcome back to the lineup, Casey Jackson.
This is what I expected to see, because there's no way you can go back and dig up enough film on Casey Jackson this season to know that this is coming. This is a planned play, and this is the dynamic capability that Casey Jackson brought that he missed earlier. Now he gets a second chance. He is not going to miss that twice. You said it, Cooper. Welcome back to the lineup, Casey Jackson. And that is a dynamic piece that now Sask has to pay attention to for the rest of the game.
It's been a tough season for Jackson, who last played on December 17th up in Calgary. Went on the COVID list, then was injured while working out. Just now getting back into the lineup with Stotts going out. Musical left-handers for San Diego. Gets them back within 3. Assisted by Dane Dobie. Leclerc goes at Messenger. It's picked up by Rubish. He's made a career out of doing that. Leaves it off. Cornwall scored in the first. This time pulls the shot near pipe and misses. And we have an illegal substitution, this time on San Diego.
This is almost the opposite. Hey, we're not, we're not firing on all cylinders, so we can't give up we can't give up a transition goal. We got to get on the floor and prevent that. You take that extra step.
San Diego minor penalty, illegal substitution.
Yeah. How much does Cornwall pushing down the floor at the end of the first contribute to them wanting to get back and stop him this time?
A little bit. I mean, you've seen whether it's Matthews coming off, whether it's Cornwall pushing at the end. It's more of just an uptick in planned pushing the pace. So it could be Cornwall, could be anybody, but that's something that San Diego has to prevent.
Matthews up top, saved by Chiliano. Lintner gets it back, flings it to Matthews. He gets his hands free for just a second, and he'll pull it back out on a fresh shot clock. 38.6% this season for Saskatchewan. That's 9th in the NLL in the power play. Matthews leaves it off. Braden Bradley forces a takeaway. Throws it backwards in a heady play to Brody Merrill. And he gets it up to Matt Sykes as San Diego comes away unscathed. The chance at a shorthander, but Zach Greer will slow things down. San Diego, one of the best shorthanded teams in the league, tied for first with New York with 7 shorthanded goals. They're content to just run the clock. Noble goes flying in, leaves one near posts. And now back on defense goes the Seals, 4th in the league on their penalty kill at 62.2%. But they'll do it after a timeout, as with 9:56 left in the second quarter, it's Saskatchewan 6, San Diego 3, in a game that means quite a bit to both teams. We'll have more coming up from San Diego after a short break. Stick with us. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. There's still time to play for your chance to win $10,000 weekly with NLL Pick'em. Register and play for free at NLLpick'em.com. Got to be a little bit older than those two. Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast crew, Allie Wyatt, down on the floor.
Thank you very much, Cooper. Well, Seals head coach Patrick Merrill has had a continued in the same message during every timeout so far in this game. He does not want his players to be worrying about a certain individual. He knows it's physical out there. He's aggravated as well, but he wants them to be working on the chemistry together, making sure they're communicating, worrying about their specific game. He said, guys, you got to make sure that you don't get into your heads too much. Balance being physical, but balance playing smart. Nick, Coop, back to you.
Thanks, Allie. San Diego on the penalty kill, back out of the timeout. Another 45 seconds on it after the shot rings the post. First power play of the night for Saskatchewan. Matthews off a pick from Keenan. Church gets in tight. Church missed the shot. Had a good look at the goal mouth. Matthews on the near side. Just 22 seconds on the power play. Keenan. A save by Chiliano, and that's going to be big for his confidence. San Diego can kill off the rest of this penalty. Doby was flashing out of the box, but Bradley slows it up.
Huge for Chiliano's confidence there, but if we were to take a look at the shot chart from Saskatchewan, where they're getting their shots off, it is night and day from where they held Calgary to where they're giving up the shots from Saskatchewan. They are getting to the vulnerable areas of the floor. You can only rely on Frankie for so much.
Even strength. O'Keefe off the bench. O'Keefe saved by Penny as O'Keefe came in with a head of steam, looking a lot more like what Saskatchewan's been doing.
Good take by O'Keefe there. He struggled a little bit to find his hands and get open, but he has a low to high, and he has a shot on the run that made Penny move. Hopefully he builds on that and maintains confidence.
Behind the back, just missed the far post. Dan Lintner was looking for his second goal tonight. Drew Belgrave gets the loose ball, and San Diego flying the other direction. Belgrave for Doby. Doby, Shume, the rookie. He missed the goal. Couldn't find his first career goal.
Boy, but this game just became a track meet. Transition to transition to transition, back to back to back. That's exciting stuff. With 3 good opportunities.
It was 5-1 after the first quarter. As Saskatchewan came roaring out of the gates, Jeff Shatler nearly had a hat trick. His third goal wiped away after a review. Shatler working with Keenan, cross floor. Chiliano coming across.
I think that's another case right there of San Diego mistaking that being next to your offensive assignment is covering your offensive assignment. Saskatchewan is doing a great job of saying, hey, just because you're next to him doesn't mean that you're going to prevent me from making a pass or getting a shot off. Great job, Frank, moving from left to right to save that stop.
Berg.
Save that goal.
Doby scored earlier tonight. Berg assisted on that goal. Here's Berg, gets his hand. He scores! Wesley Bird cuts it to a 2-goal game, and the MVP candidate has his 25th of the season.
This shot comes down to one thing, and it's deception. His entire momentum is taking him down the alley, and he looks, his eyes, his hands, his wrists, his stick is pointing to the far side, and similar like we saw from that Dobie goal earlier, with the flick of the wrist, pulls it near side, which is an extremely difficult shot to be moving downhill and to score near side. A lot of times that's a heat check, but for Wes, welcome to the Goal Club against Saskatchewan.
Second point of the night for Wes Berg. Church takes a heavy hit from Gobrecht, still hangs on to it, finally it pops out, and San Diego cleans it up with Brandon Clellan.
A great hit by Gobrecht there. He's been playing physical all year and has become a staple of this San Diego defensive unit. To
finish the thought on Berg, his 2 points. An underlying theme for the season, when he's had 5 points or more, San Diego is a perfect 7-0. Leclerc rolls back, Leclerc, saved by Penny, held his ground this time, and outlets it ahead to Corbeil, but a little bit overshot. And this time San Diego gets back to cut off that flash to the middle of the floor.
Wouldn't be surprised if that was an emphasis of Patty Merrill. Hey, they're going to be pushing it. Get back and let's be in shape. That's why you train in the offseason.
Matthews, a one-handed pass for Schattler, tried to swing it across the floor. And Brody Merrill there to collect it. Matthews stays on to give Merrill some trouble, and a bounce pass ahead gets it across the timeline. San Diego's offense with 20 seconds in the shot clock.
It's the Brody Merrill difference. He is on those hands every single time. That's a Brody Merrill turnover.
Merrill's been great lately. Greer couldn't get his shot away. Noble, still 10 seconds in the shot clock. He goes down and a push from behind, but no whistle. And Saskatchewan can collect. It's Dilks. 3-on-2, Dilks. Saved by Chiliano, and a big stop for San Diego. They have numbers the other way. Here comes Noble with Dobie. It's a 2-on-1. Noble, Dobie. Couldn't get a clean shot off, and San Diego has a missed opportunity.
And I'll say this, on most of the diving efforts by Dobie, a lot of those were going in earlier in the season. He is continually trying to score on the top right of the goal.
And that time, Josh Courier goes diving in and takes a beating. We have a little bit of a fight going on in front of the goal mouth. There's a penalty against San Diego. Courier was pushed in. So a power play upcoming. Keenan, kick saved by Chiliano. Schattler gets it back. Fresh shot clock, 6-on-5 Saskatchewan. 5 minutes to go in the second. They lead 6-4. They took a 5-1 lead in the first. Matthews and Schattler leading the way. It's Matthews working with Keenan on the near side. Kind of a lazy shot. And there's Merrill with the loose ball to end the possession. So Saskatchewan will go up a man on the power play. At the 4:49 mark in the second quarter with Tor Reinhold heading to the penalty box. We'll have that for you after a quick break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. Coming up, the Guaranteed Rate halftime report. We'll hear from Allie White as she'll check in with Jeff McComb on the floor. We'll also take a look at some of the first half stats. And Nick, I know your thoughts. Saskatchewan going on the power play. You thought that might have been called the other way.
Well, Josh Courier going into Frank Chiliano, there is going to be a scrum. Anytime you hit a goaltender, there's going to be a little bit of a scrum. But for Brody Merrill to get cross-checked in the face earlier, no call. Jeremy Noble gets hit from behind, no call. If Courier dives into Chiliano and there's a bit of a scum-up moment, just let the boys play. Let the boys play or don't. Be consistent with it.
Keenan, Church, Merrill cuts him off. Back to Matthews up top. Saskatchewan 0 for 1 in the power play tonight. Matthews had his shot stuffed up top. And Lintner gets it back. 10 on the shot clock. Matthews steps in. Behind the back. Pass in. Schattler scores on a quick stick. My goodness, Mark Matthews. Third of the night for Schattler, completes the hat trick. And the power play goal widens it back to a 3-goal game.
You can game plan all you want. Mark Matthews can defeat any game plan strictly with his stick skills. He's made a mockery of many defensemen in this league. And the pace and the accuracy Yeah, backhand passes can be easy, but for him to put that much pace and accuracy on it, Frank Scigliano didn't stand a chance because no one is expecting any player to do that. You can try and emulate it in practice all you want, but nobody can do what Mark Matthews can.
37 years young, Jeff Shattler is third of the night. Fourth year in Saskatchewan, his 16th and final season in the NLL. And this for San Diego would be a nice moment to win a faceoff.
It's been plaguing them all year. And at some point, you just have to say, hey, even if I'm not going to win a faceoff, we need to figure out a way to make it a 50-50 ground ball.
Well, and wins the clamp. And the 50-50 ground ball goes the way of Saskatchewan. So you got what you asked for, but Saskatchewan wins the loose ball and has possession as a result.
I'll take that over Messenger winning in 1 second.
Well, San Diego's defense had been playing at an elite level in recent weeks. Held Calgary to 4 last week. The power play continues on. It's a 5-minute major against Tor Reinhold. So one more power play goal would release it. Scigliano punts the save away. And after a ricochet has the rebound, pushes ahead to Drew Belgrave. So San Diego will go to halftime on the penalty kill. That is unless Saskatchewan can add a second power play goal here on the 5-minute major. LeClaire with 10 on the shot clock. San Diego trailing Saskatchewan 7-4. It was a 5-goal first for Saskatchewan. They came flying out of the gates. Quiet trip for San Diego.
And it's tough. You know, we called out that San Diego has the most man-down goals in the league, but that's normally when you can catch them by surprise. If you have 5 back-to-back possessions, they're going to be expecting you to try and push the pace.
Matthews just assisted on Shattler's third of the night. Another quick stick. Scigliano was there this time. And Lintner was pointing perhaps at the ball cross, but the officials disagree. So a clean save for Scigliano. Under 3 to go in the first half. Saskatchewan with their backs against the wall came out firing tonight. And San Diego trying to recapture their second quarter form that has been their bread and butter throughout the season. They've been the best second quarter team in the league this year. But they have to kill a 5-minute penalty, which inhibits their ability to score goals. Noble flings a wild shot that's blocked and got a good piece of the rookie Connor McClellan.
Hang in there, McClellan. I feel your pain, brother.
Very specific kind of pain.
Go.
Pain that's prevented by a very specific kind of apparatus. On the other end, Matthews, Church, back to Matthews at the point. Backpedaling, Matthews probes. Quick pass. Shattler whiffed on the quick stick that time. He scored like that earlier. With 2 seconds in the shot clock, a great look on the backside for Lintner. But a shot clock violation, and San Diego gets away with one.
That's about as lucky as you'll get. Very few times will you see star passing bottom left, top right, across the middle. Frankie was beat and got bailed out by a missed shot. Huge break for San Diego right there.
10 on the shot clock. Berg working through the double team. Berg scored once in this first half. 5 on the shot clock. It's Jackson. He just rings one. And Penny picking cherries. Easy work. Final minute 25 of the first half. It's been all Saskatchewan on the power play currently. Trying to add their second power play goal on the 5-minute major from Tor Reinhold. Matthews steps in. Matthews fakes behind the back. Church quick movement. Big save by Scigliano. Robs Keenan. And then on the backside, Lintner has a second look. Down to the final minute of the half. Matthews behind the back for Keenan. Cross floor. Another save by Scigliano, but it trickles in behind him for the goal. A tough break for Frank Scigliano, and it's 8-4 Saskatchewan in the second.
Boy, and that would have been one of the best strings of back-to-back saves I've ever seen. This ball movement from the Saskatchewan Power is unbelievable. This San Diego defense, their stick inactivity is starting to become a problem. Let them get one skip pass in, but 4, 5, 6 in a row is too big of an ask for Frankie. And even though that one went in, he still got a major piece of it, and it just trickled in. Tough break for Scigliano, who was standing on his head.
8th power play goal of the season for Robert Church. That's second best in the NLL. He now has a power play goal in 8 of his last 10 games. They're going to keep Reinhold in the box despite that second goal. As it seems we've entered a review here. It was a little bit of a nondescript review.
San Diego has 5 men on the floor right now. You're just keeping Torn a little extra timeout.
Well, that's one way to go about it. Under a minute to go in the first half. San Diego needs to get into the locker room. Saskatchewan has come out and done everything they could have hoped to as they try and push themselves back into the playoff mix and avoid the need for a possible fire sale. Their veteran group, one last ride. Matthews, Shatler, Dilch, Rubish. Here's Matthews. He's had a great first half. Far side, Courier gets in tight. Courier ran out of real estate. Giuliano makes another stop, this time on Lintner. Rolls it to himself, and San Diego will call a timeout with 21.8 seconds left and an opportunity to hang on for the final shot. Nick, let's look at the shots right now. Saskatchewan 29, San Diego 19, and of those 29, you got to think what, 12, 14 have been high quality looks?
Extremely high quality looks. You know, coming out of ball movement in dangerous areas on the floor, out of transition, one on none, uncontested. Last week we saw Frankie stand on his head and save, what, 50 shots?
Yeah, 50
near 50, which is crazy. But again, San Diego was dictating the physicality, and right now they are getting pushed around. They are the ones getting bullied by this Sask offense through hard picks and through ball movement. They can't settle in and find their roles. And I think, you know, missing Garrison and Bomberry, 2 physical presences, San Diego's really feeling and needing that physical presence that those 2 can bring.
See the upcoming schedule for San Diego. Colorado here next weekend, and a couple of road games, Vancouver and Toronto, and then come back to play Philadelphia. Of those 4, 3 of them are 500 or better. Colorado in second place in the West, Toronto competing third place right now in the East, and then Vancouver and Philadelphia both very much in the playoff mix. So things do not get easier for the first place San Diego Seals after tonight. Final 10 seconds of the first half. San Diego can hold for the final shot. Berg to the middle of the floor. Doby steps in. It's Berg. Final 1 second. Berg ran out of time, rung the pipe, but it doesn't matter as the first half comes to a close. Saskatchewan came into the night needing to have a big performance. Their 5-goal first quarter pushes them to really an excellent first half, Nick, and everything Jeff McComb could have hoped for.
Exploding out of the gates. This is the veteran leadership that I think has been missing and is why Sask is 3-7. You know, Mark Matthews, you kind of live and die by his stick, and when his stick's hot, holy moly, that we're seeing the Sask of years past. So never count out a team that has this much on paper talent, and we're seeing that when it comes together, it is a thing of beauty. This Sask offense is a nightmare for the San Diego defense, but entertaining to watch.
Jeff McComb talked about it to us this week. Thought they had a really strong leadership group, and they're finally pulling through.
Maybe all they needed to have was their backs up against the wall.
Allie Wyatt's with Jeff McComb on the floor.
Thank you very much, Cooper. Well, Coach, you talked about it earlier on the phone this week, but offensively, you really liked what you've seen from your guys the last 3 to 4 weeks, getting good shots. They're continuing that here tonight. How do you continue that momentum in the second?
Yeah, no, we've been really good. We have to play a whole 60. That's only 30, and thought we swung the ball really well and got Frankie's been so good this year when you can square up to the ball, and we need to swing it and get shots, and we've done a good job so far.
Coach, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Back to you.
At the end of the first half, Saskatchewan rollers out to an 8-4 lead. We're headed to halftime in San Diego. Stick with us for the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report. We'll have more after this break. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. Welcome to the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report. 8-4 A surprising first half as Saskatchewan put a great first quarter together and then strung to the second to go into halftime, doubling up the home San Diego Seals and Western Conference leaders. You can watch any National Lacrosse League game and you'll see firsthand how intense the game is, and just how acrobatic and physical the players can be. Our Devin Caney sat down with players around the league to highlight the many reasons why this game is so incredible, not only to play, but also to watch.
Box lacrosse is the fastest game on 2 feet. If you go to a game, I promise that you'll never want to watch another sporting event ever again.
I remember going to games as a kid, and their old slogan was, "We'll sell you the whole seat, but you only need the edge. You don't want to miss a second."
To someone who wants to get to know the NLL, how would you describe it?
It's like a combination of basketball. It's a lot of up and down.
Oh, the dunk from Burn!
A lot of pick and rolls. A little bit of hockey as well, except you're allowed to hit people with a stick.
Obviously we're running instead, so it's a little bit quicker. And there's a lot of goals scored, but it's also really rough.
It's a complete battle. You taking a slash in the knee or the elbow or taking a high stick. We were always taught that, to be good and to win, it hurts, right?
There's so much contact, obviously, from the shoulders to the hips. That's the name of the game as far as the mentality.
There's no offsides, there's breakaways all the time, there's fights, there's hits, there's so much going on.
There's a lot of whacking and hacking and a lot of goals being scored. Sometimes things happen in the game that ends up 2 people squaring off.
This has got to be a first!
Bicep pads, elbow pads, shoulder pads, kidney pads, and then shoes. And that's really it. Literally, guys are makeshifting their lacrosse equipment. They've got the elbow pad, but then they throw another pad on top of the elbow pad. There's a lot that goes into creating a professional lacrosse player's equipment.
I watched John Grant Jr. videos. He's retired in the league, but that's who I grew up watching.
John Grant Jr. is a wizard!
A lot of the times you'll be going, what the hell was that?
I don't even know what that was.
I feel like I'm in my prime. Obviously some of the stuff that Lyle Thompson does, the crease dives.
Are you kidding me? That's the Lyle Thompson we know.
Curtis Dixon carry 3 grown men around and then scoring.
Hat-trick goal from Curtis Dixon.
Cody Jamieson, who scores a lot of those goals that you don't really see in any other sport.
When the game's on the line, you want number 88 with the ball on his stick.
Austin Shanks scores highlight reel goals on a continuous basis, but at timely fashions.
Shanks for the shot, he scores!
Yeah, as a goalie, it's stressful. These guys are just so creative with their fakes now. Challen Rogers throws some amazing breakaway fakes.
Rogers shoots, scores!
We have a lot of talented players in this league, and probably the most underrated, hidden away sport there is out there.
Come out and watch a game. I guarantee that you're going to be addicted to it. It's go, 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 and nonstop entertainment.
Halftime in San Diego. We'll have more of the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report after this. Stick with us. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. You're watching the Guaranteed Rate Halftime Report. San Diego fans haven't had a lot to cheer for tonight. Their Seals trail Saskatchewan 8-4 at halftime at Pechanga Arena. Look at our BetMGM around the league scoreboard. A couple surprising results, or at least one already finished, another in progress. Albany beating Halifax for the second time this season, Nick. And then Panther City, 13 goals between the second and third quarters to take a 14-11 lead on second place Colorado. If you're San Diego, you're looking at that thinking, well, we haven't played well, but the team right behind us isn't offering a whole lot of pressure either.
No, and it's frustrating because this is a golden opportunity for San Diego to really take a commanding lead. Yes, they're at the top of the division, but they need to solidify that, and they are off to a terrible start in this game.
One thing that really stands out, not just the shot on goal numbers, but the quality of those Saskatchewan shots. San Diego has been giving up a lot of the meaty part of the floor.
They've been giving up the meaty part of the floor, and Sask is taking advantage of it through ball movement, through the movement of their feet, and through the effectiveness of their picks. And in contrast, those 20 shots on goal for San Diego, I would venture to say that only a handful of them have been as good of opportunities as Saskatchewan is consistently getting.
Couple of individual performances, 4 points from Dan Linter, 4 from Mark Matthews as they lead the way for Saskatchewan in a game they have to win. We'll have the start of the third quarter coming up next when we come back. You're watching the National Lacrosse League, Saskatchewan and San Diego live from Pechanga Arena.
And welcome back to Pechanga Arena. Seals in rush, just about to start the second half, joined now by the Seals head coach, Patrick Merrill. Coach, I heard you talking throughout the game, not worrying about other individuals, but worrying about the Seals game, the game plan. What did you tell your team at the half?
They just, quite frankly, out-competed us, and I thought taught us a lesson there. Right, so no individual is going to get us out of this. We're going to have to get it out of it. Get out of it as a team, right? At both ends of the floor, and but it's going to take a lot of hard work.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Start of the second half, and Frank Chiliano has been facing a tall task. 32 shots in the first half. You can see the captain, Brody Merrill, there for a moment. He and his brother, Patrick, likely leading the conversation in the dressing room for San Diego, who wins the opening faceoff of the second half and will start down a man. Or rather, Tor Reinholt still in the penalty box. They will play 5-on-5, excuse me. Reinholt serving out the end of a 5-minute penalty that was shortened by 2 power play goals by Saskatchewan. San Diego gets their offense on. Nick, you didn't like what you saw in the first half.
Not at all, and I think they're really missing the presence of Austin Stotts, which of course they are, but it's been surprising to see no one on that left-handed side step up as a true initiator as Trey Leclerc gets off a rocket of a shot.
And time and again, they're at the end of the shot clock.
Yep.
And they're sending Wes Berg to the penalty box. Go back on the man down. Penalty kill time for San Diego.
Got to say, even though Westberg ended up in the box, you love to see the leadership role. Hey, our offense isn't producing anything. We need to play a little bit more physical. Westberg's going to be the guy to do that, whether it's physicality, goals around the world. He's going to be able to do it all. Unfortunately, just landed him in the box.
Matthews behind the back. Quick look, big save by Chiliano, denying Keenan, who's shooting just 10% this season. By far the worst mark of his career. Having a hard time finding the back of the net. Well, this power play unit for Saskatchewan that ranks toward the bottom of the league has scored twice tonight. Matthews working with Church on the bottom side. Matthews, Church steps in, shoots and scores! Church again for the second time tonight. And a third power play goal opens up a 5-goal lead for Saskatchewan, their largest of the night.
A very well placed shot, but I'd like to call out Ryan Keenan setting a seal pick, which opens up the hands. When you have your hands and eyes free in a dangerous spot, again, I can only say it so many times, but you can rely on Frank Chiliano for a lot, but not to consistently save those threatening shots. Great job on the seal on that Saskatchewan man up.
San Diego has given up 3 power play goals on 3 penalty kills. Eli Gobrecht taking the team on his back for a moment there and winning the loose ball. He gets an ovation as he goes off. This is a penalty kill unit for San Diego, though, that was 14 out of 20 in the 4 games coming in, and Matthews and company have picked them apart. Rear for Doby. Weak shot from Doby. He goes down in a heap. And a penalty away from the ball. This time against Saskatchewan, so San Diego will have a power play of their own.
Well, the refs' halftime adjustment call everything. Hey, we forgot to make calls last half. Let's make sure that we nitpick coming out of the break.
Holding on Ryan Dilks, he'll sit down. You see Jeff McComb there, Dilks in the penalty box. Season high 17 penalty minutes for Saskatchewan the first time they played San Diego. This is just the 3rd time they were going man down. Berg behind the back, looks for Leclerc. Back to Berg up top. He and Doby have each scored. Doby on the power play. He missed high and wide. Shot clock does not reset. It's at 14. Berg for Doby working the left hand. Berg shoots, saved by Penny, and there's Rubish to gobble it up and fling it ahead to Messenger. Messenger streaking down the middle of the floor. Messenger one-on-one, saved by Giuliano, and Doby back on defense, picks it up, gets it ahead, and here's San Diego with numbers. Jackson for Noble, back to Jackson. He shoots, and Penny makes another stop.
Boy, before that, on the initial outlet, I got to say, Trey LeClaire all put his raw speed up with anybody in the NLL. He flew back and made Messenger shoot it a little bit before he would have liked, potentially saving a goal.
Half the power play for San Diego gone. The Saskatchewan penalty kill unit 1 for 2 tonight. They have been much better away from home this season. That jumps from 52% to 58% when away from the SaskTel Center. San Diego back on offense. First 3 minutes of the third quarter gone. Doby leaves it off for Berg, gets space. Berg, another save for Penny. And Berg gobbles up the loose ball. Working it back to the opposite side, Greer and Doby. No Austin Stotts tonight for San Diego. He's been huge on their power play. Doby rolls a shot wide. There's Berg again. Doby one more time behind the back. Greer misses this time. San Diego trying to get back within 4. Power play goals on 3 consecutive power plays for Saskatchewan have opened up a 5-goal lead. There's Berg in tied. Berg. Penny stands tall again and makes the save, and Garland gets it out of the defensive end. Dilks out of the penalty box. It's a 3-on-2. Dilks had it swatted away by Gobrecht. Giuliano goes to his backside. And how about the check by Gobrecht?
Incredible play by Gobrecht. He is the shining star of the San Diego defense tonight, and especially as you have Mark Matthews screaming out of the box for Eli Gobrecht to make that not even a shot on goal is a phenomenal job.
San Diego's offense has struggled without Austin Stotts tonight. The left-hand side did get Casey Jackson back. Berg has his shot deflected, and a very short, empty trip for San Diego. Here's Bobby Kidd III, the rookie, pushes it into offensive territory for Saskatchewan. 10:43 still in the third quarter. Church, a couple of goals in the power play for Church tonight. The best in the league in that department this season. Goes right at Cleland, gets his hands free, blocked by Reinhold, straight up into the air. And with 5 seconds in the shot clock, Mallory, Courier had no angle, but Giuliano still makes the save.
Well, good job by Tor Reinhold getting in the lane right there. San Diego in this second half has done a better job intercepting passes and getting in the shooting lane of the Saskatchewan offense, which is something they're going to need to continue to do throughout the rest of this third quarter.
The power play is dead. 5-on-5. Here's Doby. San Diego trying to take advantage of Colorado's struggles against Panther City. Shot far side, LeClaire, and Penny, who went 80% in the first half, makes another stop at the 9:52 mark. So far in the third, just a power play goal for Robert Church. It's a 9-4 game in San Diego. Saskatchewan has come out trying to push themselves into the playoff discussion. We'll have more after this. Jeff Shatler, the 37-year-old, in his 16th and final season, having himself a night, matching his season high with 4 goals, as he's led Saskatchewan to a 9-4 lead. And Nick, there's the veteran leadership that we talked about at the top of the broadcast.
Chandler has 3 goals, but it's a byproduct of everybody on this Sask offense contributing. He just happens to be the one that can quick stick it to a wide open net.
Courier, big save by Giuliano going to his knees. Good look from Matthews on the pass. San Diego gets a much needed stop. Here's Holding pushing ahead. He scored in the first quarter. Only goal of the first for San Diego is Saskatchewan jumped out to a 5-1 lead out of the gates. San Diego's offense has struggled without Austin Stotts tonight, and that's been a theme in the team's history. Just 4-9 in games without Stotts since the inception of the San Diego Seals in 2018. Zach Greer, 4 on the shot clock. He's got to get it away. Cross floor, Noble. High shot off the shoulder of Penny, but it gets up out of bounds, and San Diego gets a second possession out of it.
And I think something to keep an eye on. I can't remember the last time in this game the left-handed line has penetrated and gotten a good goal. And that's what Austin Stotts has in spades. Let's see if this left-handed unit on San Diego can penetrate instead of just shooting from outside like Dane Dobbie has done multiple times tonight.
And Dobbie's had such a hard time shooting the last couple of weeks. Scored on the power play earlier tonight, but Dobbie came in shooting 4% the last 2 weeks, just 1 out of 25. Wouldn't have believed you if you told me that back in week 4 after he scored his 16th goal in the first 4 weeks. Corbeil feeds and a save by Chiliano on the backside, robbing Courier. Excuse me, that's Schattler who he robbed.
And Sask had a 4-on-3 right there. If you give up a 4-on-3, you want to give Chiliano the time to process a shot from up top, but Sask again makes a hard cut to the backside, and Frankie is playing phenomenal for giving up 9 goals.
The Rush have controlled both ends of the floor tonight. Jackson couldn't handle the pass. First game back since December 17th, and he gives it away. That's been a theme tonight. This active defense causing turnovers, and we knew Saskatchewan does that as well as anybody. Messenger posting up, flying in Church. Tried to get it back from Schattler, but threw the pass to nobody. And Casey Jackson is down. From our vantage point, we couldn't see him in the corner boards. This would be a huge loss to that left side of Patrick Merrill's team, Nick. Already without Austin Stotts, Casey Jackson in his first game back from an injury, something you absolutely hate to see.
It's just, you know, it's tough to talk about without getting emotional as they take a look at his knee, which is every player's worst nightmare. And just speaking personally, he's such a good kid. You know, he goes out with a wrist injury. From what I was hearing from all the other players, he's still completely active in the group chat. He's getting his workouts done as he can. So we're just, you know, hoping and praying for the best for Casey Jackson, a phenomenal guy, as the medical team comes out.
He's a player who's had just terrible injury luck throughout his young career. Jackson came into the league as an undrafted free agent, struggled to catch on with Vancouver, was taken in the expansion draft, lit the world on fire in his first year as a SEAL. Still the franchise's all-time leading scorer, and it looks like it's that right ankle. If you're squeamish, you might not want to watch the screen.
I'm not watching that again.
So Jackson being helped off by Brody Merrill and Tor Reinhold. And Nick, you have a SEALs team that's already reeling a bit from the way Saskatchewan's come out of the gates, and now a bit of a gut punch from one of your big team guys, Casey Jackson, going down with a pretty grisly looking injury.
Especially with an emotional team, you know, Patrick is an emotional leader, and that plays well. And you know, I'm struggling to come up with words right here because I just think so highly of Casey Jackson. But you know, speaking from my experience as a player, call me more emotional than some of the other players, but it took me a long time to get my head back into the game when I knew that one of my best friends, one of my brothers in arms, was in the back with, you know, what did not look like a good injury. So I hope that the San Diego defense can not have that effect too much here.
Saskatchewan has the ball after the delay as Jackson goes down the tunnel. Far side for Keenan. The rookie Shoemate pushes him with a cross check. Forces a bad pass, and there's Chiliano to scoop it up. Right ahead to Cam Holding. And San Diego maybe pushing the unsettled. Dobbie has his hands free, and Penny makes a save going to one knee. Now, Nick, one thing that's worth keeping an eye on, San Diego's shooting a lot at that 5-hole. Either it's a scouting report or it's a confidence question.
Yeah, they're shooting low, and even when they do take those high shots, it's not going to those top 90 corners. They're not painting. So the accuracy of the shots on San Diego is in question, and credit to Saskatchewan's defense for getting out on the hands.
Kick save by Chiliano on the shot by Lintner. Sykes flings it ahead, but getting back quickly. The man who took the shot, Lintner, breaks it up and gets Saskatchewan the ball right back.
But great job by Lintner there. That is a threatening position, and just like we were giving Trey Leclerc credit, I'll give Lintner some credit as well.
Mark Matthews working on Drew Belgrave, has a huge size advantage. Matthews hands free. Back up top. Chiliano shoulders it aside, and Belgrave tries to keep it away from Church.
Boy, a great seal by Church. He actually had two San Diego defensemen in front of him. very difficult shot for Frankie to save. And again, I'll call out, even though it seems like a lot for Frank to be giving up 9 goals, he's playing really, really good.
Giuliano saw 32 shots on goal in the first half. A lot of those high-quality looks for Saskatchewan in the meaty part of the floor. If you're just joining us, Saskatchewan used a dominant first quarter to take control of this game. San Diego's been playing catch-up ever since going down 5-1. Doby hesitates, shoots near pipe, misses everything. And there's McClellan racing down the floor. Galloping leaves it off for Bobby Kidd III. And Saskatchewan gets it in tight. Giuliano another save as McClellan throws it into his chest. Shume goes into the crease with the ball, and Saskatchewan gets a gift of a possession.
Boy, every single time they push pace, it seems like San Diego's worried about stopping and getting to the hand of the ball carrier and completely forgetting about the backside of the defense, the most vulnerable part. That's about 3 or 4 pushing pace, leading to a very good look for Sask.
Almost 10 minutes gone in the third. Quick shot. Giuliano another save. As Frank trying to keep the Seals in the game and pick up for his offense that has had a hard time finding any rhythm at all. For San Diego, a power play goal, a transition goal, and then just 2 and 5-on-5 settled offense. Missing Austin Stotts tonight, and it shows. Greer on the left side. Shoulder save by Penny. Long rebound. Good check by Trey Leclerc. It's a loose ball, but Greer had his back turned. And Cornwall puts his shoulder straight down into Belgrave, but at the end of it, San Diego has the ball. Once again, Eli Gobrecht races across and leaves it for his offense with 22 in the shot clock.
Boy, Trey Leclerc's athleticism continues to impress me. He's one of the few guys that has gotten to vulnerable spots. And things like that make a huge difference as Westberg peels off a shot that he scored on earlier in the game. Great job, Trey Leclerc.
Garland slows things for Saskatchewan. Just the 1 goal from Robert Church in the first couple minutes of this third quarter. Other than that, offenses have been quiet since halftime. Here's Church having a big night. A couple of power play goals. Gets his hands free and a save by Giuliano with the stick. Scoops it up. Loose ball, and an opportunity for Saskatchewan to get a fresh shot clock with Mike Mallory.
Great job by Church right there, getting to the middle of the field, middle of the floor, and continuing to go past, getting a great shot off. Good stop by Frankie.
Playing that left-hand side, Mallory feeds for Matthews. He's been lethal as a passer. Near side, stopped by Giuliano. And another big loose ball for, you guessed it, Eli Gobrecht.
Boy, Eli and Frankie are keeping this San Diego team in it on the defensive end.
This is a time when San Diego needs something from Dane Doby, don't you think? And he throws it away right on cue. Taken away by Dilks, who flings it ahead. Another transition opportunity, it's Kidd. A couple of athletic rookies making an impact tonight. Kidd and McClellan in the back end for Saskatchewan. They'll have to get younger at some point, but they're veterans saying not tonight. Leading 9-4 on the road against the Western Conference leader, Courier. Saved by Giuliano with the shin guard. Merrill tried to flip a pass out of the scrum, and it's holding. San Diego hasn't scored since halftime. Struggling to find a rhythm on offense. The league's second best scoring average at 12 a game coming in. Just 4 so far tonight. Leclerc, Turf Monster gets him. Berg, he scores! Second of the night for the MVP candidate, Wes Berg, and San Diego's back within 4.
And this is just Westberg. We talked about his dynamic ability to score. He's just an opportunistic guy. Trey Leclerc finds a turf monster. Westberg finds the ball in the back of his stick in an area of the floor in which he can aim at any part of the goal. And even though he's shooting as he's kind of fallen down with pressure, the placement of all of his shots warrant so much respect. And there's a reason why he's just a pure natural goal scorer. The placement of his shots, even as he's falling down.
First San Diego goal in 19 minutes and 41 seconds Last time they'd scored was Berg back in the second quarter to pull San Diego within 4-6. And an unforced turnover as Greer couldn't handle the pass, and Rubisch there to control for Saskatchewan. 2:15 left in the third. A goal apiece here in the third. Beers swims over Doby. Beers comes in, and it ricochets off Chiliano, but was he in the crease? They say yes, he was. Trickle me once, trickle me twice. Right, Nick?
Not today.
Not today. Well, with that, 2:06 left in the third quarter. Chiliano standing on his head, keeping San Diego in the game. Saskatchewan making their push when we come back with. The San Diego Seals return home to Pechanga Arena on Saturday, March 19th. That's next week. This will be a game you won't want to miss against rival Colorado. Tickets are on sale now. Go to SealsLax, that's LAX.com, to secure your seats now. Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast crew, Allie White, on the floor.
Cooper. Well, Nick Coop, earlier this week, we talked to the Rush's head coach, Jeff McComb, and somebody he spoke very highly of was Josh Courier. He said that he's been getting out of his head when he's playing his game. This was a huge thing for his players, especially as they stepped up in their game, making sure that they're able to go with the strides, bounce back from games, not worry too much. And he's saying he's seeing that with the way he's been able to assist the ball out there on the floor and just how vocal he's being as a leader for his team. Nick, I'm sure you can relate to this, but that's a big balance to be able to bounce back, take it in stride. It's a roller coaster season.
Great point by Allie. No matter what happens in the season, you always got to prepare for the next game, and having leadership makes all the difference in the world in that following game.
There's Zach Greer with 13 in the shot clock. Another active stick. Kyle Rubisch deflected it. Doby fires off a shot blocked by Matt Beers, who nearly scored on the other end just before our last commercial break. To finish Allie's thought on Courier, he scored 2 or more goals in 2 of the last 3 games entering play. That's huge for a guy that struggled to find his role in their offense. Once upon a time, he scored 34 for Philadelphia a couple of years ago, so they know he can fill the back of the net when he gets comfortable in their offensive system. Matthews, Matt Sykes, the second-year player, working out on him. That was Courier on the shot, and Chiliano stands tall. 70 seconds left in the third. Saskatchewan still riding their 5-1 first quarter, keeping that margin here with just 16 minutes of play left in the game. Doby, cross floor, O'Keefe scores the corner! Picking tuna cans out of the net. O'Keefe comes over to Dane Doby, who took a bit of a shot after the pass that set up O'Keefe. But Nick, how about the shot from O'Keefe?
We saw him go low to high earlier, and he just didn't place it as well as he normally can. All-time leading goal scorer in NCAA lacrosse, but if we go that low to high, when he places it well, look at how much he had Penny going from left to right. His entire body, he ended up on his right knee right there. That is how deceptive his shot can be. You pair that low to high deceptiveness with shooting it around a defenseman. That's what we saw from Mac O'Keefe at the beginning of the season, and I hope that's what we can see continue moving forward.
8th of the season for O'Keefe, his first since January 14th when they played Saskatchewan up at the SaskTel Center. O'Keefe had been struggling, trying to find his footing. Doby thought he might have drawn a penalty, didn't get the call. Greer with 10 on the shot clock. It's Noble now, working on Corbeil. Noble, 7 to shoot. Loose in the middle, and it's a turnover. Matt Beers collects it. And an empty trip for San Diego, and a wasted opportunity to build some momentum. Belgrave trying to take it away from Beers. Merrill goes down. Final 10 seconds of the third. Important spot for the defense. Matthews comes flying in, flings a pass. Lindner stopped by Chiliano. A wide rebound. Courier tried to swat it in with 1.2 left. Chiliano full field, and it's just after the buzzer. He hits the net, but it's after the buzzer sounds, and the ball needs to be in the back of the net before we hear that tone throughout the arena. Chiliano wants an explanation as to where his goal is on the scoreboard, but just after the buzzer sounds, So with the score 9-6, we head to the fourth quarter. Stay with us. Final 15 after this. It's time to grab your dancing shoes and get to a Saskatchewan Rush game. Get your tickets at saskrush.com as the Rush heading back to the SaskTel Center March 19th against Rochester, back for 3 straight. They play Calgary and then Vancouver. While at home there in Saskatchewan. 3 quarters in the books. A couple of goals towards the end of the third gets San Diego back within 3 and striking distance for one of the league's best fourth quarter teams. We nearly had a goalie goal right before the end of the third. The buzzer sounded before it made it in the net. And in the weird occurrence, the only other game going on right now, Panther City in Colorado, actually did have a goalie goal at roughly the same time. Kind of a weird thing, you don't expect that. But one thing that stands out, Nick, only 6 turnovers for Saskatchewan's offense. San Diego's turned it over 15 times.
Comes down to the accuracy of the passes as Westberg.
Stopped by Penny, good kick save.
Great take by West right there to get to a vulnerable position.
Shot clock violation. See a look at Chris Corbeil. Patrick Merrill trying to lead his San Diego Seals back from what was once a 5-goal deficit.
Saskatchewan 21, minor penalty, holding.
The holding against the rookie Connor McClellan.
Potentially a big penalty right there. You know, penalties are an interesting thing. Sometimes you can have as many of them as you've had all season and still come away with a win, but it's the timing of the penalties. Sask really needs to stay out of the box. They don't want to give an inch to San Diego, especially when goals are hard to come by for this offense. 6-9, you got to stay out of the box.
Berg steps in, had his shot blocked in a changeup, gets a piece of Penny, who goes down for a spread eagle. San Diego 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. That one courtesy of Dane Doby back early in the second quarter. The Rush jumped out to a 5-1 lead after the first and have milked that the rest of the way. Trying to kill off a penalty here, Corbeil. Church and into the corner for Courier. 5 on the shot clock, Belgrave. Courier had it blocked.
Good defense by Belgrave right there. Even though you do have the extra man and you know that you have a little bit of a safety net, good little confidence booster. Lets you play a little more aggressive.
San Diego's offense gets in. Here's Berg at the point. LeClaire back to Berg up top. Gets a pick. Doby towards the middle of the floor. Berg steps in behind the back. LeClaire shoots in a save by Penny. There's Noble for the rebound. Back to Berg. Doby backside. Doby bounced one, and Penny sits on top of it for another stop.
Doby going back to the 5-hole well right there. Almost snuck it past.
Cornwall racing down the floor, flashing the speed that landed him a goal at the buzzer at the first quarter.
He's fast.
He can fly. He and his brother Travis both. Travis plays for Panther City on the road trying to beat Colorado tonight. That would change the dynamic a bit for San Diego, win or lose. If they win, they can widen their lead in the West. If they lose, they don't lose any ground. Wide shot clock violation. 22 seconds on the power play for San Diego as they'll have possession with their offense on the floor deep in Saskatchewan territory and a full shot clock to work with. 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. Westberg, couple of goals. Doby trying to go low to high. Greer comes up to check Rubish. Doby underneath. Gives it back to Greer with 15 to shoot. Berg. It's LeClaire. LeClaire, he scores! Off the hesitation, off the fake, and in the back of the net. It's a 2-goal game.
I love the progression of Trey LeClaire this year. This is not one that this rookie would be able to score game 1, but he's starting to learn that it's more about deception. He throws just a half of a fake right there, freezes the defenseman Beers, gets Beers biting on that high shot, which clears up the path for him to shoot at 5-hole. We saw him shoot earlier. We saw him get a little bit more creative, and now he's throwing fakes as he builds out his repertoire. That is something he can continue to go back to.
Don't count him out yet. It's a 3-0 San Diego run after the goal by Trey Leclerc. They trailed by as many as 5 and have pulled back within 2. Keep in mind, Nick, Saskatchewan has been outscored in the fourth quarter 3 games in a row and has been among the worst fourth quarter teams by the numbers in the league this season. That's reflected by really the puddle of 1-goal games they've lost late in crunch time. Here's Church.
Good to have veteran leadership. Watch out if you're getting old.
Schattler, he shoots. Having a big night, but missed the net that time. Church, 8 to shoot. Gets a pick shirt. Missed the goal. And the shot clock will come to a close as Keenan wisely throws it back deep into the end. So San Diego has scored 3 in a row, dating back to the end of the third quarter. Most recently, Trey Leclerc on the power play, giving San Diego their 2nd extra man goal of the evening. Trying to come back from what was once a 5-goal deficit. Flying underneath, O'Keefe has scored once tonight in a beautiful low to high shot. O'Keefe leaves it off Doby. Trying to get it up top to Noble, had his pass deflected. O'Keefe tiptoeing the crease, somehow stayed out. Leaves for Doby, couldn't get the pass through, and Corbeil there to vacuum it up.
Boy, it looks like O'Keefe is feeding off the energy of his goal earlier. That didn't work out, but he is buzzing.
A guy they'd love to see get going, O'Keefe, just 3 points in the 4 games entering tonight. He had 15 in the first 5. A couple tonight, including a goal. Matthews gets his hands free, had it checked at the last moment. That was Patrick Shumay, the rookie, that got a piece of this shot. Here's Church, middle of the floor. Church, saved by Giuliano. Kicks up back to Church, who gets it with a fresh shot block. Merrill tried to strip him from behind. Church works behind the goal, back through Courier on the far side. They go to the wheel. Check from Mallory. Courier for Matthews. Matthews cross floor. It was tipped first by Church and finds its way all the way through. 10 on the shot clock still. Mallory gets it back. Schattler, bit of a changeup, and that's it for the Saskatchewan possession. A bit disorganized, and they don't come up with a good look.
Boy, Westberg stuck on defense. Good job by Wes. Probably just doing what he's told, which is a testament to San Diego's communication right there, that there wasn't someone wide open when you have an attackman stuck on defense.
Just over 5 minutes gone in the fourth. Leclerc to the middle of the floor. Leclerc couldn't get his shot away, but Doby shoots. Backside. That's Casey Jackson, who's back into the game, and boy, are we happy to see that after a scary ankle turn in the corner. Boards on the opposite end of the floor.
I had to double check just to make sure that it was Casey.
Make sure it's not an imposter in that 21 jersey. First game back since middle of December, I should say. Belgrade gets way out. Here's Lintner, flicks one behind the back. To be backhanded, I should say. And here comes San Diego. Belgrade with Bradley to his left, Doby, and Greer to his right. It's Greer. Greer, saved by Penny, and a big stop for the Saskatchewan netminder. That's why they went out and got him from Philadelphia just a couple of weeks ago.
Boy, what a great job by Drew Belgrave on that shift to go across the middle of the floor and support what would have been a lethal shot on Sask O, and then to push transition to get a shot. That is a great shift by Drew Belgrave.
Schattler having a big night, feeding off Matthews. Tried to look to Matthews. Courier tries to go from behind the net. Couldn't get a handle on it. Was trying to shoot before he had possession. And the shot clock violation as Holding sits there and waits. Will take us to immediate timeout with 8:42 left in the fourth quarter. San Diego trying to pull closer. They're on a 3-0 run and back within 2. We'll have more of the fourth quarter after this. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. Let's take a look at our Fanatics turning point. It comes courtesy of that man right there, Jeff Schattler, in his 16th and final season, having a night with a hat trick. The third of those came after Tor Reinhold took a 5-minute major, and on that 5-minute penalty, 2 power play goals for Saskatchewan. They haven't scored since then, but that put them up 9-4. And what can you say about the offense there?
And again, you know, Schattler does have the goals, but it really is a team effort from the Sask offense. We just saw that behind the back pass from Matthews before that that goal from Church. But when Schattler is the goal scorer, could be Schattler, could be Matthews, could be Church. He just happens to be the byproduct of really good off-ball and ball movement from the Sask offense.
Speaking of offenses, San Diego waking up a bit. They've scored the last 3 as Saskatchewan has gone more than 20 minutes of game time between goals. Far side, O'Keefe getting comfortable tonight. Scored a beautiful low-to-high goal. Gets it away with 3 seconds in the shot clock and has it deflected. There's Rubish.
A great shift from Beers right there. And when this Sask defense is playing well, they're doing a great job of going to hound without overextending. They know when to go out and get pressure. Beers on O'Keefe, he's going to take that every time.
Saskatchewan's been outscored in the 4th quarter 3 games in a row. San Diego's trying to come back from 5 down to move to 8-2 and push the Rush down to 3-8. Quick stick, Lintner missed the net. Belgrave takes a high hit. Belgrave controls it, gets it across the timeline, and San Diego has possession with 7:40 left. The San Diego offense averaging 12 a game, struggling tonight without Austin Stotts. They're just 4-9 all-time without Stotts. Noble went near pipe and missed it. Goes back to get his miss, though. Fresh shot clock at 30 seconds. San Diego on a 3-0 run. Leclerc, one of those 3 goals. Leclerc hesitates, gets in tight. Leclerc, Penny goes down for the save. Off the rebound, Leclerc couldn't get it to go, and there's Dilks to clean it up. Penny standing on his head, keeping Saskatchewan ahead by 2.
That's an incredible save by Penny. I'm not sure that you're going to see a better one all game because Leclerc not only got to a great spot, but got the rebound.
Lucini out there on Shatler.
Lucini hounding. He said, hey, Beers, I'm going to match your energy on the other side of the floor.
Also Patrick Shumay, who's put together a great game tonight. Tough no-angle shot on the twister. Loose ball, San Diego comes up with it.
Good call. Shumay drew the matchup of Matthews, and yeah, Matthews has had a good game, but Shumay's had some great shifts, particularly late in the game.
Here's Berg, 2 goals tonight, the only multi-goal scorer for San Diego. The MVP candidate trying to hold them back even with Saskatchewan. O'Keefe rips low to low this time, and the submarine shot stopped by Penny.
Every time he winds up, I just want to see him keep going low to high.
Here's Corbeil. Corbeil missed the shot wide. And loose ball, King Brody Merrill has one to push the other way for San Diego. 3-on-3. Turns into a 4-on-3. Doby right into Garland. Gets doubled by Messenger. Tried to fling it back for Merrill. Merrill comes up with it behind the net with 18 still to shoot. So San Diego can get their offense on with a little bit of time to work with. They'll have 10 seconds in the shot clock. They'll work the right side with Berg. 8 to shoot. Berg gets a pick from Leclerc. Berg goes for the high corner, and he trickles off Penny and in! It's a hat trick for Berg! And San Diego is back within 1.
I called out on Westberg's last goal, his placement, and this is going to be such a fun replay to watch. Stings that top bar, it hits off the top bar, goes off of Penny's back, and then trickles back in. Look at the bench go nuts. But I'll call out one thing, and that's his ability to know where the lane is. He could not shoot that sidearm, it would have hit the Sask defenseman, so he goes overhand, which allows him to put it over the left shoulder of Penny. Great placement on Wes's shot.
And a huge loose ball by Cam Holding gets the ball right back for San Diego. This is when the faceoffs really matter. So Berg's hat trick pulls San Diego within 1. They've scored the last 4 of the night. They've trailed by as many as 5. Here's Noble looking inside. Leclerc tried to tie it up, but kick saved by Penny. And with 5:10 to go, Saskatchewan has possession. Corbeil slows things up. Matthews coming off the bench, looked for him for a moment and thinks better of it. Final 5 minutes. San Diego trying to come back tonight. Saskatchewan trying to save their season. Matthews. Courier shoots, stopped by Chiliano, who stood on his head in the second half, giving up just 1 goal since halftime.
And Frankie's starting to play those angles really well. You see the Sask offensive players wind up, and Frankie's in perfect position in contrast to those very dangerous goals we saw in the first half.
San Diego held Saskatchewan to 1 goal in the third. That's the 20th time they've held a team to 1 or no goals in a quarter this season. More than 50% of the total quarters they've played. Berg with 5 to shoot. He's got a hat trick. Berg stripped by Cornwall in a great check. And with 4:15, Saskatchewan has it. Church back to Cornwall. Saved again by Shiliano with the shin guard. And a loose ball by Holding. For Doby. Doby, quick shot, rings the post. Oh man, that close to a tie ball game. And Corbeil, the captain, slows things down through Dilks. A couple of defenders still on the floor. Saskatchewan white-knuckling a little bit here, Nick.
100%. And Doby, I wasn't expecting that shot, and Penny certainly wasn't either.
Matthews, the big physical 6'5" specimen, flings a pass. Keenan goes right at Patrick Shume, the rookie, having a big night on defense. Behind the net, it's Courier. Flings a backhander, misses the net, and the shot clock expires. San Diego, another clean defensive possession, and that will take us to our under 5 timeout. San Diego on a 4-0 run. They've pulled back within 1. Frank Shiliano standing on his head. We'll have the final 3 minutes when we come back to San Diego. Westberg trying to carry San Diego back from down 5. He scored 3, and Eric Penny trying to hang on as his rush lead 9-8. San Diego on a 4-0 run, and the Rush have scored just once since halftime. Still riding their 5-1 first quarter and trying to make that last to the end of the night. But for the Rush, 1-goal games have not been kind to them this season. Just 2 and 4, as it's really been the story of their campaign. If they're going to correct course and get back in the playoff conversation, they need to win tonight, and they'll need to exercise those 1-goal demons. Noble helps them out by throwing it away, but Berg behind the goal turns it into a loose ball drill. Noble comes back with it, 13 to shoot, and Rubish finally collects for Saskatchewan. 3 minutes to go here in San Diego. Fresh off the bench, they'll work through Church on the far side. 8 goals in the first half for Saskatchewan. Their offense has been silenced since the break. Frank Shiliano standing on his head making stops. Church missed the net. Another loose ball and a high hit. But a good heady play by Sykes gets it to Merrill, and the captain crosses the timeline. Leaves it off for Doby. 1 goal tonight for Doby. Came on the power play back in the second.
Worth noting that Doby also smoked the post on his most recent shot.
San Diego shooters starting to look more confident. They have 8 to shoot. Doby working 2-man game with Greer. Gets loose for a moment. Doby 3 to shoot. Doby behind the back, almost hugged it inside the far pipe. But the shot clock expires and Saskatchewan comes away with a stop.
Haven't seen that out of Doby in the while. He's patented back down and then just let his stick skills and creativity take the wheel. I like seeing that, even though that didn't go in.
San Diego held on to beat Saskatchewan on the road back in January. The Rush trying to return the favor here in San Diego. Church, big stop by Shiliano using his shin guard. Flings it ahead. He has Gobrecht, and San Diego wasting no time. 1:38 to play. They trail by 1. San Diego trailed by as many as 5, currently riding a 4-0 run. Saskatchewan hasn't scored in more than 25 minutes. Here's Berg, 3 goals tonight, leading San Diego. Berg in tight, Noble couldn't handle the pass. It's Greer, Greer off the penny, and it scores! We're tied in San Diego. Trickle me once, trickle me twice. It's all knotted up at 9.
This is the difference maker, is the San Diego Seals are playing with momentum and energy. Westberg tries to throw it to Jeremy Noble. It doesn't work out, but Zach Greer comes flying through. We see this mishandled pass. Good Sask defense. Zach Greer athletically picks it up, throws 1-2 fakes, and just like you said, Cooper, trickle me once, twice. How about a third coming full circle, nodding us at 9s? Stay on the edge of your seat, fans at Pechanga Arena.
6th goal of the season for Greer. 7th different Seals player to score tonight. San Diego has come back from down 9-4 in the second half. After the review.
Ball clearly crosses the goal line, therefore we have a good goal.
It stands up as a good goal. And we're tied with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. Nick, San Diego hasn't played an overtime game tonight. If you're Saskatchewan, what are you thinking right now?
It is impossible to get out of the mindset, oh, here we go again. And whether it's veteran leadership or leadership coming from the bench, this has plagued their team all season. They have to be in a bad spot mentally here, Cooper.
Corbeil comes up with a big loose ball. Merrill comes flying in. Corbeil tries to get it out and finds a little bit of help from Dilks. So Saskatchewan gets their offense on the floor after San Diego ties it. 5-0 runs for San Diego, under a minute to play in regulation. Matthews steps in, saved by Chiliano. And San Diego has an opportunity to take the lead for the first time tonight. They've been playing catch-up since just about the opening whistle. Wes Berg leading the team with 3 goals tonight. Berg shoots and Penny makes the save. Berg seems to think that might have gone in. He's gesturing for a review, and I don't know what he's looking for.
You think something, you know, he certainly plays with fire. Anytime he's making a big stink out there, showing a lot of emotion. I can't tell if that's you know, a legitimate complaint or if he's just playing with a little extra fire. So either way, a great teammate. I had the chance to play with him, against him in college, with him on the Outlaws. Well. No, it didn't end well. Shut up. With him.
Yeah, that was fair. I earned that one.
And now to be up in the booth talking about how good of a player he is great. But I got to say, he's just as good of a teammate. No surprise that he's trying to end this game himself as the hot hand, as the MVP candidate for this San Diego team.
So there will not be a review, it does not seem. After the timeout, Saskatchewan will have possession. 38.6 seconds left, tied at 9. They've scored just once in the second half. That was Robert Church in the power play. Not even 2 full minutes into the second half. Since then, Chiliano and the Seals have pitched a shutout. 1-goal games have bitten the Rush this season. Just 2 and 4 in games decided by a goal. San Diego 1 and 2. Far side, it's Courier. 14 to play. Matthews feeds in tight. Quick stick. Chiliano makes another save. Merrill has a loose ball and a timeout, San Diego. 8.8 seconds to go. You've got one chance to draw something up. Nick Ocello, what are you drawing up?
Before I draw something up, I want to give a shout out to Frank Chiliano. We've talked all season long about how difficult it is to be moving from left to right and make a save. It's especially hard when there is a quick stick on the backside that you only have 1 second to get to that backside, otherwise it's a goal. Frankie, great job standing on your head, giving the San Diego offense a chance. Look at this save. Matthews, first off, what an unbelievable pass.
And Lintner flying in nearly gets it past Chiliano. That's a play that worked for them earlier in the evening that ended up in a Lintner goal.
I wouldn't be surprised if Frankie learned a little something like, hey, I don't have to worry too much about Matthews shooting from out there. I'll give up that pass so long as Frankie knows that he's getting left to right. But as far as what am I drawing up, to me, it goes back to, hey, we have one of the MVP candidates in Wes Berg. He has a hat trick tonight. He has the hot hand. He knows he can do it. Let's make a play where we can get his hands free, either cutting towards the cage or just get it in his stick and have the other offensive players setting picks, moving, sealing, so that it can be in Wes's hand.
Here we go. It's Berg bringing it up. Final seconds. Berg, he shoots. Penny, shoulder save. It's a goal! San Diego with 1.3. Jeremy Noble. Ride the shoulders to the bench. San Diego's going to win this one.
What a play! Are you kidding me? We have Wes Berg sprinting down, putting a well-placed shot that has a great rebound opportunity, just like we saw Zach Greer earlier. These San Diego offensive players are hunting. They smell blood in the water. Wes Berg is sprinting down. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time. He gets that shot up. As soon as he gets that shot off, Jeremy Noble, what an opportunity. Leaping into the air. He has the stick skills and the dexterity to scoop it up and score before his foot is in the crease. The DU to DU connection. What a game.
Just his 9th goal of the season, currently under review, but as you saw, looks to be a good goal, and San Diego is just 1.3 seconds away from completing a 6-0 run to the finish after trailing 9-4 in the second half. Giuliano and the defense have held Saskatchewan to just 1 goal since the break. The offense has come alive, and at the moment, if this stands up as we expect it to, Jeremy Noble is the hero off of Westberg's assist.
Oh, and what a deflating goal. You saw the Saskatchewan defenseman just, oh, you're kidding me, not again.
Holden Garland had every bit the look of a player who knew their run was over.
And for a team that's embarrassed me many times over.
You hear the crowd reaction showing it one more time. We'll get the final call here.
After review, we have a good goal.
Count the score, and after the face-off, San Diego is going to be 8-2. If Cleland can just clamp it for a moment, the clock will run out. Face-off a formality at this point. And San Diego comes back from down 5. They hold Saskatchewan scoreless for the final 28 minutes and 49 seconds of play. Score 6 in a row to end it, and Jeremy Noble, with 1.3 seconds left, goes airborne for the game winner. Saskatchewan is the dynasty of the 2010s. San Diego is the team of destiny tonight. The picture says the story. Patrick Merrill, the happiest man on the West Coast tonight. And for Saskatchewan, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, Nick. This was the make or break week. Panther City winning means that they slip well out of contention. 3-8, just 7 games to play. The trade deadline looming this week. This has every bit the end of an era written all over it.
It really does. It's almost surreal to watch. You know, there are very few tangible moments in which you see a true changing of the guard. And wow, what a game to have that happen.
Well, we highlighted him as an MVP candidate at the top of our broadcast. He puts in a hat trick tonight and bolsters that resume. Ali Wyatt has Westberg down on the floor.
Thanks, Coop. Wes, what a game. What a finish. Just take me through that last sequence as he assisted there to Noble.
Yeah, it was wild. I knew we only had 8 seconds and they were going to lock off Dobe, so I figured I'd just try to put something on net, and Penny made a great save, and Jared just, you know, he knows where to be at the right time, and what a clutch goal by him. And you know, we owed our defense, we owed Frankie one there because they held us in it the whole game, and we sure started off ugly, but we finished strong.
I even saw you playing defense there for a second, but you had a hat trick tonight offensively. What does it mean for this team, you personally, to come back, to get that win? I heard Patty saying you guys were playing your game. In the first half, you didn't feel like you were.
Yeah, we showed a lot of character. I mean, honestly, we just didn't have our energy, and we didn't deserve to be even close in that game the first half, and we turned it on, and we did a good job. And like I said, our defense really brought it, and Frankie kept us in it. And then, you know, good things happen when you start working hard.
Les, congrats on the hat trick tonight, and thanks for chatting.
Thanks, Ali.
Back to you.
San Diego comes back from down 5. Frank Giuliano holds Saskatchewan to 1 goal in the second half. And San Diego wins their 8th in 10 games to start the season. We'll have more post-game reaction in just a moment. You're watching the National Lacrosse League. The NLL on ESPN is brought to you by Guaranteed Rate. If you believe it, you can do it. Guaranteed Rate, believe you will. Also by NLLshop.com, a Fanatics experience, officially licensed everything. And by BetMGM, the official sports book of the NLL. Get the BetMGM app today. Now you're winning with the king of the sports book. Please bet responsibly. Final score in San Diego. The Seals come back from down 5 in the second half to win 10-9 on Jeremy Noble's buzzer beater with 1.3 seconds left. Young fan taking in the game of the year. Nick, it was a wild one. It was an ugly one, but the finish, we couldn't have asked for better.
We really couldn't have. And you said it was as ugly as it gets in that first half for San Diego. I was already, I was worried about being put on the end line by Patrick Merrill, and I'm up in the booth.
You see there 56 shots on goal for Saskatchewan. Frank Chiliano in the second half, get this, Nick, 23 out of 24 as he holds them to 1 goal in the final 30 minutes. And now San Diego 21 times this year has held their opponents to 1 or no goals in a quarter. That's more than the 18 times they'd done it in the first 3 years of the franchise combined. The Rush had their chances. They just couldn't beat Chiliano when it mattered.
No, and Frank gets hot at the right times, and I think it's a twofer. I think the San Diego defense really upped their physicality and let Frankie get accustomed to those shots. But alongside of that, Frankie had some circus saves, and for the second week in a row and for this entire season, he is the talking point.
Fans soaking in the final moments after the Seals come from behind in front of their home crowd and win it 10-9. Well, for everyone here tonight, for my broadcast partner Nick Acello, for our silent reporter Allie Wyatt, for everyone working on the production side, we say thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you'll be back with us next weekend as the Seals host the Colorado Mammoth. Until then, final score 10-9. Seals beat the Saskatchewan Rush. I'm Cooper Perkins. Until next time, have a great rest of your evening.